Welcome. There's another world we don't know. It's a world full of great tales. A world with legends. And history. And real. And not real. Children and adults. It's also funny and sad. It's the world of stories, tales, legends, and memories. It is a world that you rarely find anyone who doesn't like. And here I am today. A story of the finest and the best kinds of stories. Where in the story? Horror, excitement, mystery, and suspense. In the atmosphere of horror stories and living in their events. Many people are looking for difficulties in their own hands, as well as those behind it. And when they are astonished by the fact that reason rejects it, they regret their decision and perseverance from the start. Many people, no matter how honest you are, do not believe you when you tell them stories about the kingdom of elves and orcs, as if talking to them about such things only leads to impossible events. A young man describes a traumatic experience he went through. And he still couldn't get over it or forget it, an experience that truly terrified him to the point where he became terrified. One of the routine events in life, but it reminds him of his encounters with the jinn and the dead. One day, it was dark all over, and I was going home as usual, but I chose a path along a street that had been dear to me since childhood, a walk I had shared with my childhood companions all our lives. We used to call it Monster Street because it was full of tall trees. It was mostly dark without lights, unlike other streets around it, and it was our only escape for this race. And enjoying it away from the eyes of parents when we were young. I was determined to reveal strange things on the day of the accident. It was really late, and as I was walking down the street I could sense someone was racing behind me, so I turned around to try and figure it out, but no one was there. I noticed and confirmed that there were steps approaching me for the second time as soon as I turned forward. I turned to them, but no one was there. I hastened my steps, but this time I did not look at them. Instead, I looked at some car parked on one side of the street, and if I saw in the car window and the lights were dim, someone was trying to strangle me. I was stunned by the horror of what I saw, and as soon as I turned to him and prepared to face him, I could not find him either. So what should I do? I didn't feel like I was until someone jumped on me with a sledgehammer in his hand, and hit me with it over my head, and if blood splattered on my face, I found myself in the hospital son of that street. This hospital had a back door completely obscured by old trees. I entered the hospital and saw the security guard in front of me, whom I blamed him a lot because he was watching me and seeing me when this accident happened to me. I talked to him a lot, but he ignored me. He did one thing for me, and that was to greet me with a wide smile as soon as I was admitted to the hospital. He didn't tell me anything. Despite our long conversations, I was so impressed with him that I hurt him with some comments. I finished my trip and took care of my head injury. I had a fracture in my skull as a result of the blow that required stitching and momentarily stopped the nerves and muscles. I got out of the hospital after finishing. 3 days later, my brother approached me and expressed his desire to accompany me to hold those responsible for what happened to me accountable. I drove him down the same street, and at the back entrance to the hospital, I discovered something unexpected. The entrance is rusting, which was surrounded by trees. I was beaten here and entered the hospital through that door, she told him. Are you sure you entered the hospital through that door? My brother said, surprised. Yes, I entered through that door, I said confidently. I swear by Almighty God that I entered it through this door. We entered the hospital through the main entrance. We called the manager and I cooperated with him and my brother. What's wrong with you, son? And what do you want? The manager said at first. I said I arrived a few days ago due to an accident and that everything was taken care of, but I entered the hospital from the back entrance. The director of the hospital first presented papers proving my presence at the time I said, then insisted that I be escorted and inspect the entrance through which I entered in person. As you know, this door has been closed for 25 years, and it is the door of the mortuary, and from it we used to take out the corpses, and after receiving many complaints from the residents next to it because of the cries of the people of the dead, we closed it, and we took the corpses out of the main door. He said the first time I showed him the door through which I entered.